Joining me now, Jeff Mason, White House correspondent for Reuters, and Ankush Khadori, former federal prosecutor, now Politico magazine senior writer. And Jeff, let's talk about the firing of the BLS director. Administration officials are defending that today, as you heard there. Did all of Trump's economic team agree with this decision?
I don't have an answer to that, but they're certainly out defending it. I think it's fair to say that often President Trump's staff and top advisors have to come out and give a defense for issues or for decisions that the president makes on the economy and on other issues that they may not be 100% behind. Now, I'm wary of making a broad statement like that, but I'll give you one example. Certainly the president's criticism of the Federal Reserve Chief, Jerome Powell, has not been something that has been largely supported by Treasury Secretary Bessent. So I don't know the answer to your question in terms of whether or not they supported this firing, but it's certainly something that President Trump did and is in line with how he handles bad news, both economic and otherwise. When he sees something that he doesn't like, he is happy to act, and in this case, act by firing this person. And as Kevin Hassett was just explaining in the clip that you played, finding someone from within his own orbit to replace her.
And we also know he doesn't like being investigated. So, Jeff, now that Jack Smith is under investigation, what are you hearing about that? Is it one of the Epstein distraction methods that you've been writing about?
I have been writing about that, and the story that I wrote most recently about that basically said that President Trump's toolbox as a public figure, both before he was president and now that he's in office for the second time, has been quite effective at getting people to look elsewhere, to deny, to change the subject, but it just hasn't worked with the Epstein story. And that is largely because the drive for more information about Epstein and about those so-called files has come from his own base and the MAGA base and his MAGA supporters. So yes, is this another attempt to distract from that? Absolutely. Is it working? Not so far. That doesn't mean that it's not going to get some attention, but the Epstein story is not going away, and he has not quelled it by forcing or encouraging people to look elsewhere.
Ankush, former CIA Director John Brennan, an MSNBC contributor, and former FBI Director James Comey, who previously investigated Trump, are also under investigation. Both have denied wrongdoing. Has this show of force had any success in slowing down the criticism? Just respond there to what you heard. There's been criticism over Epstein. There's been criticism over the big, beautiful bill and the economy. Is this working to go after Trump's adversaries?
You know, that's not clear to me. I think it's hard to say. I mean, on the merits, I don't think it should work because these are very well-tread ground. I mean, they're still now, talking about going back and investigating or dredging facts up from the 2016 election and the Trump-Russia investigation. The FBI director has been out touting these things, and they're very marginal. The likelihood that they end up in a meaningful result or a meaningful sanction against these people that is credible with the public, I think it's fairly low. And I don't really get the sense that people are prepared to move on from Epstein. At least his core supporters have sort of latched on to this. And look, it may blow over eventually. And in fact, it probably will blow over eventually as sort of time goes on. But I don't think we're there yet.
Why is he struggling, Ankush, to kind of control this narrative, as we've seen him try to do in the past more successfully?
I think for a couple of reasons. One is, honestly, the statements that he and his administration have been making in recent months. Now, the Wall Street Journal reported that in May, he was briefed by the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General that his name was in the Epstein documents. Ever since that happened, we've seen a whole series of evasions and deflections and non sequiturs and efforts to blame Democrats and the media, and I think that has just been fallen all flat. And then second, you have these two lines of inquiry, public-facing lines of inquiry that they've initiated. One, this effort to unseal grand jury transcripts, which I think we now effectively know will not produce much, if anything, new based on the witnesses that testified in that grand jury. And two, this effort to develop Ghislaine Maxwell as a cooperator. And I think most, normal people realize that that is a very bad idea out of the gate. I saw a poll this week, in fact, that reported that among the public, only 4% of people supported the idea of pardoning Maxwell.
Jeff, President Trump attacked talk show host Charlemagne the God after he appeared on his daughter-in-law's Fox News program. Here's some of what he said.
I think there's a political coup going on right now in the Republican Party that people aren't paying attention to.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think that this Epstein thing is going to be a way for traditional conservatives to take their party back. This is the issue that has gotten the base riled up. The MAGA base isn't letting this issue go, and for the first time, they know they can, probably take their party back and not piss off the MAGA base. I think they're going to do that.
Awkward. So does he have a point there? Do you think that's what's happening?
I think it's way too early to draw that conclusion, but I think that it's not a message or an idea or a thesis that President Trump is happy to hear, and certainly not on Fox News on his daughter-in-law's program. And I think that's probably what drove the criticism that he directed back at Charlemagne. And again, this is in line with what we were saying earlier. President Trump is not someone who likes to be criticized. He feels that there should be focus on his accomplishments. And listen, whether you agree or disagree with President Trump's policies, he has a lot of accomplishments for sure. But he also has a lot of things that are hanging around his neck politically. And Charlemagne went into a few of them. In addition to the one that you just played with regard to Epstein, he also talked about the economy and some other issues that may hurt support for President Trump in the midterms and for the Republican Party going forward. So is there an opportunity for conservatives to take back the party? And when I say conservatives, I mean the more traditional conservatives that he's referring to. Maybe, but we're just a few weeks into this. It's pretty early to say for sure that that's what's going to happen.
Ankush, your thoughts on that?
No, I totally agree with Jeff's assessment that it's too early to tell. And in fact, the Epstein issue has attracted a lot of attention. I think one reason it's staying in the news is because these lines of inquiry they've initiated are not developing, and in fact developing more negative news stories over time. But Trump has a long history of scandals that his core base is forgiving, going all the way back to the Access Hollywood tape, and I'm sure Jeff and I could tick off many more, and you too. Scandals that, like, some people thought would sort of end his political career, January 6th, for instance, and did not. So I think it's always wise when you're dealing with Trump to maintain a healthy level of skepticism that the latest scandal will be the thing that craters his support. I mean, historically, that core base of supporters, whether it's 30, 35%, have rallied around him after these various scandals.
There is a reason why he's earned that moniker Teflon Don, so we'll see if it sticks this time. Jeff Mason and Ankush Kadori, thank you so much for being with us today.
When you turn on the morning news once again, it will be a day that makes you ask, is this really happening? The Trump administration has fired yet another person, this time the director of the BLS, the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Why? Because the numbers are bad. If the economic data is not what Trump wants it to be, what is the solution? Change the numbers, not the number cruncher. If the Ministry of Truth from 1984 are here, it would be applauding. The economy is deteriorating, but the culprit isn't the unemployment rate, income inequality, or inflation. Is the government official responsible for bringing this bad news to the public? And Trump's economic advisors, of course, they were being sent out to applaud. We'll never know what they're thinking behind the scenes, but their facial expressions say a lot. This isn't just about firing an official, it's a continuation of Trump's long-standing "you're either with me or against me" logic. He attacked Fed Chairman Powell, targeted Mueller, declared the media the enemy of the people, and now he's going after statistics and Jack Smith, Comey, Brennan. They're all under investigation. Are you upset that Trump is under investigation? Then let everyone be investigated. Is that simple. We're at the peak of the whataboutism era. So Trump's logic goes like this: if I'm dirty, everyone's dirty, so no one's guilty. It's a kind of quest for political equality, of course, in his own. It's a revamped version of Nixon's "if the president does it is not a legal mindset." But you know what's most striking? The Epstein case. The scandal marks the first serious immunity to Trump's long-standing distraction strategies. Even the mega bases questions, this time because it's personal, because they are looking for their own names in the documents. When the idea of pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell came up, only 4% of the public supported it. 4%. Even his own base is starting to say, wait a minute. And what about what Charlemagne said when it was brought up on Trump's stronghold Fox on his own family show? Panic set in. Now he's busy attacking the media, conservatives and liberals. But what he's forgetting is this: sometimes the more you try to bury a story, the more it resurfaces. Especially when the story starts with your name.